Hey guys, Mario here. Another edition of MTG Diagnosis, Doctor by Day, Magic the Gathering by Night, and I wanted to show you the two decks I've been running at the local game store. Been playing against other guys. Actually, been beating some modern decks over there. They have quite a few players I've been playing. I've been so far undefeated with these two decks. That being said, I haven't been playing. Well, yeah, the one guy was playing standard decks, and the other guy was playing his modern decks, really powerful decks. But this deck seems to be holding its own. This is first deck is my I call it Unstoppable Dragons because it just once it ramps up, you get dragon after dragon, you get dragon tokens out, you get Elder Dragons out, and it's mid game. It's unstoppable. Early game, actually, there are some cards to protect yourself with the Lightning Strike here, as well as the Spit Flame. You can cast these early game. The Spit Flame can come back out because you pay 1 red and bring it back to your hand from the graveyard when you start casting dragons. Creatures, there's 64 cards total. I don't like to adhere to the strictly 60 cards or less or no more rule. I just feel like there's some cards where you might need 1 or 2 extra cards in specific situations. So creatures has the Dragon Egg. It's a 3 to cast, 0/2 defender wall, and once it dies, it puts a dragon token, but it's also a creature, a dragon. So you can cast this later in the game to trigger some of your dragon abilities, and specifically Sarkhan Dragonfire, Sarkhan Dragon Soul, and specifically it'll trigger the Spit Flame, which you pay 1 red to bring it back to your hand and do 4 damage to target creature, and Dragon's Horde, which is a great artifact if you're going to be playing dragons. It's basically 3 mana to cast, tap to any mana of any color. So if you're playing Elder Dragons, which have multiple colors, it's very useful for that. Plus, whenever you cast a dragon, you get a gold counter token. For each dragon you cast, you can tap it. Instead of adding mana, you can draw cards. So very useful for red decks, because red is chronically ill-equipped to add to draw. The other enchantment that's here is the Sarkhan's Unsealing. So whenever you cast a creature spell with power 4, 5, or 6, it does 4 damage to any target. If you cast a creature with 7 power, it does 4 damage to everything. So we'll look at our creatures here. You have the Dragon's Egg, the Sarkhan's Whelp. It's 3 to cast, 2/2 flying, and whenever Sarkhan uses his Planeswalker uses his ability, it deals 1 damage to any target. Of course, we have 1 Nicol Bolas. Just 1. Don't need to go crazy with Nicol Bolas. The other reason why is because I only have 1. It's a pretty expensive card right now. It's $35, so you don't need to go crazy and go crazy with the price here. This deck costs about $143 in paper, $56 online. You get 3 Varix Blade Wings, low cost, 40 cast, and it's a 4/4 flying. But also, if you kick it, you get 4/4 dragon token. Demanding Dragon, really. This should be in every dragon deck. I mean, flying 5 for a 5/5 and flying and does 5 damage to the opponent unless he sacrifices a creature. Glory Bringer, he's 5 to cast for 4/4 flying haste, and he can, when you tap him to attack, he does 4 damage to target non-dragon creature if you exert him, so he doesn't untap. But I mean, just getting rid of other creatures is great. Lathliss, 2 Lathliss. She's very handy. I mean, she can create a 5/5 red dragon creature token every time you cast a non-token dragon. So you have her out for 6 mana. If the opponent doesn't get rid of her, you cast a Dragon's Egg the next turn. Only 3 mana, and you get a 5/5 flying dragon. Palladium Moor, she's our first Elder Dragon. Vivictus Asmati is our next one, and then Daragaz Reincarnated as our third one, and he's our 7/7 flyer. So he's really good with the Sarkhan's Unsealing because he's 7/7 flying, and he triggers. If he triggers this, I mean, you're decimating your opponent's planeswalkers and creatures he controls. Sarkhan Fireblood makes this deck work. Specifically, his second ability. His second ability is to add 2 mana of any combination of colors, and you can spend this mana only to cast dragon spells. So, I mean, he is the linchpin or the keystone to making this deck work. You have to have 4 of him. If you're going to be playing Elder Dragons, you need him. And then also the Sarkhan Dragon Soul. He's the Sarkhan that was in the Planeswalker deck. You get 1 of him. He's 6 to cast, starts off with 5 loyalty. You use his +2 ability to deal 1 damage to each opponent and each creature your opponents control. You use that ability twice, and then all of a sudden you sacrifice him for 9 loyalty, and you get all your dragons out onto the playing field. So very handy. Or you can just do your -3 ability and do 4 damage to the opponent or a planeswalker if there's a planeswalker on the other side that's really giving you a hard time. So I really like this deck. A lot of fun. And the lands, 3 Clifftop Retreats, 3 Dragon Skull Summits, 14 Mountains, 3 Timber Gorges, and 1 Highland Lake. So you have this. I like these lands where if you have a mountain, it comes into play untapped. The Highland Lake and the Timber Gorges, it's only because I don't have the other lands that are standard legal for dual lands. So these come into play tapped, but that's okay. The other deck I've been playing with that's really, really fun. It's my Teferi Karn Second Sun control deck, and this was just a Teferi Karn deck with artifacts. Found that local game store had a challenger deck with Second Sun, incorporated some of those cards, and now this deck is great. I mean, it's funny when you see your opponent just sitting there watching you do all your tokens and card draw and extra turns and seal aways and Time of Ice. This deck costs about $275 on paper, $209 online, and creatures, there's only 4. It's 2 Omen Speakers and 2 Exclusion Mages, but you get 3 Karns, 3 Teferis. Karn, you're using him to draw cards, look through your deck. Teferi, you're using him to draw cards. If you get to his ultimate, great. Also, if there's something on the other side and really giving you a hard time, you can do the -3 to put it into 3rd from the top of that player's library. The spells, 2 Syncopates, 2 Anticipates. So Anticipate looks at top 3 cards, put it 1 in your deck and the other on the bottom of your library. Very helpful if you're running Approach of the Second Sun. 2 Blink of an Eye to get rid of any creatures on the other side. 2 Essence Scatter so you can counter. 1 Settle the Wreckage. This was actually in the second settle. There was only one Settle the Wreckage in the Challenger deck. Approach of the Second Sun Challenger deck, and Fumigate, there's actually 3 of them. I'm only using 2, and that's really good because you get to gain life. The other thing I put in this deck was 4 Fountain of Renewals. Really important to outlive the early stages of a match. So if you can get these Fountain of Renewals, gain a life, and every turn for each one, so that really adds up over time. The 4 Seal Aways to help get rid of any tapped creatures on the other side. 3 Time of Ice. This is great. Time of Ice is really good. It really handcuffs your opponent. There's 3 Approach of the Second Sun and 2 Nexus of Fate. So 2 Nexus of Fate from buying the Buy a Box promo, or now you can find them online because people are selling them online. and you need 10 islands, 4 meandering rivers, 2 Memorial to Genius, and 8 plains for a total of 24 lands. So this is a 61 card deck. Lots of fun with this deck. So just wanted to let you guys know these are the decks I've been running at my local game store, and been having a lot of fun with them. Blue, White, Teferi, Karn, Second Sun, Control, as well as Unstoppable Dragons, which is pretty much red with the Elder Dragons mixed in, including Nicol Bolas. So if you get a second Nicol Bolas, I would recommend putting a second Nicol Bolas and take out one of the Varix Bladewings. I wouldn't go more than 2 of any legendary creature. The only reason being, you don't want to have, with this deck, you don't want to have any extra cards just sitting in your hand, slowing you down. This deck, maybe get another Settle the Wreckage in there. Only the Exclusion Mages, maybe put 4 Exclusion Mages in. But I would definitely keep the Fountain of Renewals. And the 3 Approach of the Second Sun. That's so important. 4 Karns, 4 Teferis, I don't know. That's kind of overkill. You're only having 61 cards total. You want to be able to mill. If you have 3 Planeswalkers, if they get rid of one of them, you can cast it the next turn. Lots of lands, so you can get mana. So that's the and then Mox Amber. The thing about Mox Amber, it's not very useful right now. They're going for about $10 online. I'm sure somebody's going to figure out a way to use them. It's a 0 to cast artifact. It's perfect for any Tezzeret artifact deck, any deck where having an artifact or in a Karn, Karn Tezzeret artifact deck makes these creature tokens. Karn does, and if you have Mox Amber, it not only does it trigger this, it also triggers some other things. So I would scoop up any Mox Ambers you find online. I picked up a playset of 4, so for $42. So if you have a chance, check that out. Thanks for watching my video. I want to give a shout out to a couple of my subscribers. One of them is Hard Rock TCG, and who's the other one I wanted to give a shout out to? William, and I forget your last name, William. Sorry about that. And No Name. I don't know what your name is, but it's No Name. I know you're one of my subscribers, so give out a shout out to you guys. Also, a prayer for my uncle Tony, who's got stage 4 lung cancer. So let's keep him in our prayers. And wanted to share that. Oh, and guys, MTG Arena has come out online. If you didn't get a access code, you can go on Twitter. A lot of people like Tolarian Scholar are putting up their extra access codes on there. I only got 1 access code. Otherwise, I show you guys some access codes to use. So hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to hit like. Don't forget to subscribe. Try out these decks. They're a lot of fun. Mostly Dominaria and Core 19 cards. This one, there are some Ixalan, but they're all standard legal. So just wanted to show you guys what I've been playing with and having fun. Have a good night. Bye.